All right, man. So in this Linux, we are going to cover these topics: introduction to Linux, basic CLI commands, understanding the file system, filters and redirection, users and group, sudo command, software management, service and processes. So commands, it's all same, and server management. Okay. So primarily we'll cover introduction to Linux, CLI commands, files, understanding the file system. So till sudo will cover. Okay, so all the basic commands that we are going to cover today, uh, those will be covered. Okay, so we are going to cover the basic commands in certain category, which is navigation, file management, system information, package management, process management, and some of the networking commands, user permissions. Okay, so these are all the category we are going to see, learn the Linux today. Okay, so generally Linux is a open source software. Okay, so that is made publicly available, so anybody can use and modify and distribute. Okay, so say for example, Linux is open source. Even you or I, we both can collect that Linux software, modify those, and launch that as our own Linux. Okay, say for example, Prem's Linux, Gautam's Linux. So likewise, we can do the modification and then distribute to the market. Okay. So some history about the Linux. Linux is a family of open source operating system based on Linux kernel. An operating system kernel first released on September 17, 1991 by Linus Torvalds. So it is known for its versatility, security, reliability, powering a wide range of devices from smartphones and servers to supercomputers and embedded system. So majorly Linux file system uh, is highly secured. This is what they say, and it's widely used for the servers. Okay, so say for example, if you take Windows, Linux, Mac, Windows are widely used. Okay, everybody in this world, almost everybody in this world, almost 70% I would say, they are using Windows. Okay, and here and there 10 to 20% it's Linux and 10% Mac OS. Okay, so when hackers or anybody target, they target to the large scale. They don't target Linux or Mac OS, so they target the majority. Okay, so one or the other way they are calling this as a secured. Uh, it's known for its highly secured file system, so nobody can hack it. Okay, so Linux principle. So in Linux, everything is a file. Okay, even the hardware, it's a file system that is available inside the um, root or users. So everything are small single-purpose programs. So Linux can have the ability to chain program together for complex operations. Okay, so that we will see when we learn bash scripting. Okay, so it avoid captive user interface. So we don't have a, I mean, mostly it's a CLI. We don't have interactive, or we do have Linux user interface, but mostly it avoids the interfaces. So even the configuration data are uh, in the file, or I mean in the Linux, or in the text file, text format. Okay. So why Linux? Linux is the open source, and it has a large community support, and it also supports variety of hardwares. So like I said, we can even customize the operating system, entire operating system. So specific purpose is like it's a server runs on Linux. Okay, most of the servers runs only on Linux. okay, because of the customization, security, and ability to automate a lot of the tasks, okay. So that are there. So primarily it is used for server purpose, okay. So this is the Linux architecture. So inside it is a hardware. Shell is the command line interface which we use. So the shell interact with the hardware through the kernel, okay. So all the applications, compilers, and other commands are on the outer layer, okay. So these things we use shell to interact, uh, that gives the information to the hardware through kernel and takes the output to the user, okay. This is the Linux architecture. So ideally, uh, for the uh, for the interview purpose, if you are giving interview for any cloud based company, or even sometimes for DevOps, they might, I mean, as far as I know, 99% of the times, uh, panel ask question about the Linux booting process. Okay, so you refer a YouTube video or some good videos to understand the entire Linux booting process and what can go wrong and how we are going to fix that, okay. So that is something which you need to learn when it comes to cloud or Linux, okay. Anyway, which we will learn it after end of all this session, okay, all the concepts. So while we prepare for while we prepare the project and prepare for providing interviews outside, so we will learn that. So right now we just understand how the Linux architecture looks. Okay. So there are many Linux distributors which we call as a distros. Okay. So primarily for desktop, these are the distributions, or we call it as flavors. Okay. So when it comes to Linux, we call it as flavors. Ubuntu Linux, Linux Mint, Arch Linux, Fedora, Debian, OpenSUSE. And for the server purpose, majorly use Red Hat Enterprise Server Linux, Ubuntu Server, CentOS, SUSE Enterprise Linux. Okay. So in this Red Hat Enterprise Linux, this company, what they did is they uh, modified the entire Linux, and they launched that as a Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay. And when we learn AWS, we will see Amazon Linux as well, because Amazon themselves modified and provided that as a image to the AWS users. Okay. So there are two families, RPM based Linux and Debian based Linux. So RPM based Linux, RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, CentOS, Oracle Linux. So these flavors belongs to RPM based, okay. And Kali server, Ubuntu server, they belongs to Debian based. So RPM based, Debian based is nothing but the file extension which we see in Windows, like exe file. Uh, uh, so some dot after the dot, whatever the file system you see in Windows, that is similar you imagine for the Linux, okay. So any software that you are going to install, that comes with .rpm, okay. So for Debian base, it comes with .deb, okay. So we'll see more when we practically use Linux, okay. So right now you just have a understanding what there are two families. One is RPM based and another one is Debian based. And RPM based, Red Hat CentOS, normal CentOS, CentOS, Red Hat, Oracle Linux. These are these falls under RPM based, and Ubuntu server, Kali server, this comes under Debian based. So so file systems are a must here, Prem. So you need to understand and memorize each and every file system, because there are a lot of manual work that you do as a DevOps engineer. Okay, so generally or majorly the DevOps engineer role, it's a combination of the system admin, IT admins, okay, uh, in managing the infrastructure. So you will more work on these kind of in this kind of file system. Okay, so it's essential to understand all the file system in Linux. So you will have to memorize all those things. Okay, so when we say slash, it is the root directory. That root directory is the, you can correlate that with the Windows. It's the administrator. Okay, root is the administrator in Linux. Okay, so root directory is the top of the file system hierarchy. So all other directories stem from here. Okay, this is the top directory, root. Okay, so slash bin. So all the essential commands. Okay, so all are stored here, like commands like ls, cp, move, and bash itself. So everything are under the bin directory. Okay, slash bin, slash where, slash ls. So it will start like that. Okay, and some of the admin task related files are stored here. So if config is one of the networking command, so reboot, shutdown. So all these commands or command files are stored under sbin directory. Okay, so all the configuration files are under slash etc slash host slash password fstab. So these kind of things are there. So slash mount. So when you are mounting an external hard drive or external like CD drive, USB, so that those external mounting points are stored under the mount directory. Okay, so this is for just for the temporary mounts like USB, external hard drive, CD drives, like that. Okay, so slash dev. So this represents the hardware. Okay, so hardware that are in your system. Okay, so slash dev slash sta slash dev tty. So under slash dev, your device files are there, like hardware. Okay, so our system hardware which we are seeing in C drive, and partitioning it to C, D, E, F. So that system hardware you can correlate here as dev SDA, dev TTY. Okay, and when we in Windows machine, when we use the USB drive, so it creates a separate mounting point like USB drive and gives it a separate name or alphabet for it, like XYZ. So that you can consider as slash mount. And proc, CPU info, memory info, and kernel info, this comes under the proc slash. So I think variable, okay, this so slash where, so some of the logs, okay, like spool files, mail, so these are stored under the variables. Okay, so even we will install HTTPD Apache server, so those also comes and falls under this var directory. Okay, so temporary files it's more useful because we download a lot of files and redirect download that in the temporary files, so that when you reboot it all will get auto deleted, so that you don't need to worry about the downloads. Okay, and user application and utilities are stored under this particular file system. So home directory, so we use a lot of users. Okay, say for example root is the one who manage all the users. So we create for our video, I mean for our training purpose, let us create only few users, but in real time in an organization, admins has to create hundreds and thousands of users. So all those users are managed under this home directory, so slash home slash Gautam slash home John, like that. Okay. So root, we already seen it. Library. Okay. So library, bin and sbin. So those are managed under libraries. Okay. So this we will see it later. So media, boot, opt. So mount, there is a minute difference between this mount and this media. So when we use the USB drive, it will get automatically mounted. Okay. So here in mounting part, we need to use a command called as mount and map that hardware to this existing file system. Okay. And so all the boot files, like when the operating system boots up, when you turn the operating system on, it will take some 2 minutes, 3 minutes good time to boot up the operating system. So all those bootloader files are seen under this booting files. Okay. So when you are installing a third-party software, it is all managed under this opt. Okay, under this opt file system. So any doubts on this, Prem? Yeah, these are all the file system which we need to memorize. Okay, and when it comes to Linux, we need to memorize everything for a best practice. But still, you can refer Google, ChatGPT, and ask them what is slash boot in Linux, what is slash media in Linux. So you will memorize and understand when your experience grows. Okay, the more you experience, the more you remember. So right now it's okay if you don't remember everything, because the more you practice, the more you learn, the more you keep your hands on Linux, so the more you remember. Okay. Okay, so let's get into some practical things. So do you remember the Vagrant CentOS which we spinned up in your in our VM? Right?
No, sir. I did not.
You don't remember? Okay, the first class what we did is we downloaded the ISO file and we manually installed the VM. That you remember, right?
We installed CentOS.
We installed CentOS. So I gave a homework to install Ubuntu also in your
Ubuntu.
So that is manual method, and by using Vagrant we installed Ubuntu and CentOS. Do you remember that? That is the automated.
Yes, sir. In last class, we made a private IPs, public IP.
Yeah. So right now what I did is I used Vagrant to install the CentOS machine. Right now I'm in CentOS. Okay. So I'll cover Vagrant automation one more time. You see my screen properly, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So right now we starts with the basic command. Let's first see the navigation. Okay, navigation commands. Okay, how you navigate from one folder to another, one place to another. Okay, so ideally when you type ls. Okay, it lists the files and directory in this particular folder. Okay, do you have a notepad and pen? If you have that, please note it down. Anyway, I will share the cheat sheet with you, but it's good to always write it down. You there, Prem?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. So ls is the command which lists all the directory, and there
Files
is
in that particular folder.
files and directories in the particular folder. And ls-l, these are the sub commands. Okay, when we give after the sub command, after the command, these are called as sub commands. So there are a lot of sub commands which we will use it. Okay. So this is the main command ls, and this is the sub command. So ls-l, it will give you the long list. Okay, so long list in the sense, hyphen means it's a file system, d means it's a directory. Okay, and the first three letters are the privilege for the root user: read, write, and execute. Okay, and for the normal user, they only can read this file, and for the others in this group, they only can read it. Okay, so root is the user and root is the group. This is the serial number kind of thing. So August 1, yesterday I created this file, not yesterday, day before yesterday, around this time. This is the file name, this is the file format. But we will see the file system in more detail. So there is a command called pwd. So it will it will show you the present working directory, which is root. Okay, we are currently under root. So let me go to the folder called script, and we'll see. So change directory, cd is the change directory, scripts. Okay, now I entered into scripts. I was in root, now I entered into the script folder. Now my present working directory is root and scripts. Okay, fine. Now we are going to create a new directory. Okay, cd. So mk make directory, mkdir is the command for creating a new directory. Let me put it as test. Okay, now I will see the directory got created, test. Okay, I will go and remove this rmdir test. Okay, I just removed this directory, unless the test directory is not there. Okay, okay, so now I want to remove the directory and the contents inside the directory. Okay, say if I'm trying to remove a directory, but it is showing some error to me. So let's see, again I'll create a test, cd test. Okay, so touch is the command to create a new files. Okay, let me say again test.txt. Okay, now it is there. Now I'm going to remove this directory regressively. So rm is a command which we can create remove a file, but when we use a subcommand -r, so it is going to regressively remove the directory. Okay, no matter what. Test. Okay. rm descend into directory test. Okay. So So it is just asking the question yes or no. Remove the directory, yes. So now the file got removed.
Mhm.
So then one more thing is ls-a, it will list all the hidden files in that folder also. Okay, so when we normally type ls, you see the difference, right? So it only shows the files and directories. Here it is showing this dot tc, shrc, ssh. These are all the hidden files which starts after a dot. Okay, so it will list all the hidden files also in the directory. Make sense, Brain?
Sir,
Okay. Now let us get into manipulation. File manipulation. Okay. So now we are going to create a file, copy a file from one destination to another, move a file, going to read a file, and we are going to use more command to display the content of the file, which has more than one page, head, tail, grep. So let's use this handful of commands to do the file manipulation. Okay, so for that, again let me create a test directory. We go into test ls. Okay, inside test there is nothing. uh, let me create two more directories, mkdir, let me say 1. Okay, and mkdir 2. So I'm having two directories now. I'm going to get into directory 1. Okay, so here I'm going to create a file, let's say copy.txt, and one more file, touch move.txt. So now what are we going to do is we are going to copy this text file from folder directory 1 to the directory 2 and move this file from directory 1 to directory 2. Okay, so cp is the command. Let's say present working directory is root test1. Okay, cp is directory slash copy.txt to 2. Okay, the file has just copied. ls, let me go to cd to ls. So the file which I have in the directory 1 got moved to the directory 2. Okay, and the same we are going to move a file. Okay, the file name is move.txt. So I'm just same path, mv. Okay, now let me list out. I have the file here. Okay, in the move directory. So it got moved from directory 1 to directory 2. Let us get into directory 1. You see the file is not here, it got moved. Okay, so let's use vim copy.txt. So we'll see more about this text editor, but for now I'm just going to walk you through the contents. Okay, I'm just giving some random text. Okay. So I'm going. Now I need to read this text file. Okay. So what I'll do is cat. So this command will display the contents in the file. Okay. Cat copy text. Okay. So whatever the content in there in this particular file, it is displaying it here. Okay. Let me clear the screen. So clear is the command to clear the screen. Okay. If you are exhausted with the page, you just can type the clear and clear the screen. Okay.
Sir.
So now I just need top 10 lines from the file. I don't need all the content to be displayed. I just need top 10. So head copy.txt. So it displays the top 10 lines alone. Okay. The same bottom 10 line tail copy. It displays the bottom 10 lines alone. Okay. So now that I don't need all these things, I just need a specific lines which matches the search. Okay. Say for example, I only need the content which matches the character G. Okay. So now what we are going to do is we are going to say cat copy.txt. Okay, and then we are going to use the pipe. Okay, pipe grep is the command which filters out, search and filters out the phrases which we are going to give as an input. Okay, let me type G. Okay, okay, it filters the line which has the G in it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this is the search and filtering out. All right. So now we are going to take a run a command, and we are going to redirect that output to a text file. Okay, so I don't want that to be shown in the on the screen. So let me type ls. It is displaying the output here as a copy.txt. So now I'm going to redirect this to a text file. Okay, so ls. Okay, so use greater than symbol and let me say log.txt. Okay, so it created a log.txt file and output of this is stored here. Cat log.txt. You see that? So ideally this is the output. That output we stored in the log.txt.
Okay.
Now do you understand why we are collecting logs and how we are seeing the errors and the timestamp wise events? You will have to correlate this with the log collection that we do in our firewalls. Okay.
You can filter out the timestamp.
Yeah, it comes with the timestamp, date, I mean all those events. So this is just a basic example that I'm providing you. Any happenings on the firewall, so that gets stored in the logs. So this is the basic command of it. Okay, so we'll see more.
All commands and output will be stored in that log. Then if we need to get those logs, we can take this log.txt file.
Yes, correct. Fine. So while you use only the one single greater than character, greater than symbol, it will just overwrite the existing output. Okay, so in order to just append the file, you need to use double greater than symbol. Makes sense, Prem? So
Yes, sir. To override, we will use a double greater than symbol.
yeah, yes, correct. Okay, that is the one small difference that you need to understand. Okay, let me clear the screen. So let us see some of the system information. Okay, system information commands. So uname -a. Okay, uname. So this will show us the system information. Okay, in Windows you go and see the system information. In Mac I will see the system information. That's the system settings. In Mac I will see the system about this Mac. Sorry, about this Mac, more info. So these information can be seen here. Okay, so this is Linux, and the server script is the host name that I have provided, 5.1.0 version, architecture, SMP, okay, GNU Linux. So this is the system information. Okay, so now host name. So host name is server script. Okay, sorry, there was some background noise from your side. Server script. Okay, so this is editable. I gave this particular host name by editing the host file, which we will see later. Okay, so host name will display the server scripts. I mean host name, which is server script. Okay, so now I'm in the root, but when I have hundreds of thousands of users here, so to know which user currently I am working on, to understand that we need to use who am I. So right now it is root. Okay, so it is displaying root. If you are working under a different user, then you can use who am I to understand which user currently you are working in. Okay, and to understand the date command, so it provides the timestamp, the current timestamp, Saturday, August 2nd, 11:59 p.m. PDT. It's in MDT, Mountain Time, so it is showing August 2nd, 11:59. Okay, and then uptime. Okay, so uptime will display how long the system is been running. Okay, so 23, 59, 45. So from this time it is up. That means we just started this 45 minutes ago, like 45 minutes to 1 hour ago. Okay, so free -h. Okay, free is the command to understand the what the memory. Okay, how much memory it's been used and what's the total memory, how much it is free. Okay, so this is in bytes. Okay, so we need to use a sub command -h, which is human readable. Okay, so when we use human readable, it will display the memory in the GB and MBs. Okay, so when it says GI, it's gigabyte, it's megabyte. So total memory is 1.6 GB. Out of that, 319 is used and 1 GB is still free. Okay, so these are shared memory, cached memory. However, now available overall memory is 1.3. Okay, these are swap memories. Fine. Then we'll see the disk space usage. Okay, further let me clear the screen. Disk fragmentation -human readable h. Okay, so here I will see the file system, how much it is being used. Okay, how much each and every file system is using the memory. Okay. You see this dev mapper, this is using, the total size is 32 GB, but now only 3 GB is used, available is 29 GB. Okay. So this, any doubt so far, Brian?
Sir.
No. Okay, now let us use some of the process management commands. Okay, process management commands. So process management command is nothing but we are going to understand the list of current working processes and the top memory or memory consuming processes. Okay, so there are, it's pretty straightforward. PS. Okay, so this will display the list of current running process. Okay, so right now we are into root, that's why it is showing sudo, and now we are using bash, this terminal bash is up, so we are using this bash, and 7865 pts, this is the ps command which we ran. Okay, only these three processes are currently running. Okay, okay, these are all the process currently that are running. So top command, okay, so this display the dynamic view of the process in memory consumption. Okay, running process, you see this, these are all the running processes. It includes the system processes as well. So currently this top command which we ran here, so it's a dynamic view of, it will keep on floating. Okay, so process ID, which user, and how much CPU it is consuming, how much memory RAM it is consuming, time, and what is the command that we ran. Okay, so here you will see uh, uh, the details of the usage. So total task 248, currently running one, I mean 248 total, one running, 247 sleeping. So the memory utilization, swap memory, so everything can be found here. So some of the commands that keeps on running. So for terminating or stopping that particular command, you need to press Ctrl C. So if you press Ctrl C, it will stop. Or you can also suspend the process by clicking Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Okay. Okay. Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. So now let us get into networking commands. Let's see basic networking commands. Okay, so if config is the widely used command. Some Linux we need to install if config command. Here I'm not sure, it is not there. So instead of that you can use IP address. Okay, so it will show you the loopback IP of yours. Okay, and then the uh, Ethernet. Okay, I think this is the router IP, and this is your system IP. Okay, so now let's do the ping test to 8.8.8.8. So it will keep pinging. So control Z is to suspend the running process, control C is to cancel the running process.
Cancel.
I'm going to control C. Okay, that's it. So 30 packets transmitted, 30 packets received, so 0 packet loss. That means this particular IP is pingable. Okay.
Yes, sir. No latency.
Yeah. No latency. You know it better than me. Okay. So now we need to understand which is our listening network port. Okay. So for that, netstat is the command that we use. Netstat. So when we use netstat, we need to use TULN. Okay, I'll explain what is TULN later. Okay, the command is not there. We'll install it later. Okay, so now the important point is we'll learn this in detail while we use AWS to take SSH. In Git also we used HTTPS method and we did not use SSH. Okay, so SSH is a networking command which we need to use. The syntax, I'll just explain the syntax. So SSH user and the host. Okay, so this is the syntax. We need to mention SSH, and if we are using cloud, we need to use the path for the private key that we are having. We should have that, and the user at host. Okay, it may be the host name or a fully qualified domain name or the private IP address. Sorry, not private, it's a public IP address. By using that, we can securely log in into that cloud instance or the VM also. Okay, so right now I don't have any other VMs running or cloud instance running, but I will show you how to do that when we learn AWS. Okay, so now there are two things. So users and permission setting. Okay, so right now let me see if I have that user. SU doesn't exist. SU Sumant. So right now we have the user name Sumant. Okay. So for testing purpose, I created your name as a user also and deleted it. So now let us see who am I. Who am I? So I am Sumant. Okay, because we are in the user Sumant. So now we need to execute some command, but that need a root privilege. Okay, so at that time what I will do is I will use this command sudo. Okay, and then I will execute the command ls. I mean, just an example. Okay, Sumant is asking for password. I did not set the password yet, but we will set it later. Anyway, which it will keep asking for password. So slash yes. Slash etc slash password. So we need to make some modification in the password file and also in the sudoers file. So right now I am ignoring it. So when you are running a command that requires when you are running a command from the user that requires a sudo privilege or root privilege, so you will have to use the sudo before you execute that command. Okay, understood?
Yes.
And if you want to switch back to root, sudo -i is the command. Okay, it requires password. So what I'm going to do is sudo -i is the actual command to switch to the root. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to exit. Okay, so if I exit, it will go to root. Again, if I exit, it will log out from the root also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now um, file permission and file uh, ownership. Okay, so chmod. Okay, chmod is the command to change a file permission to a particular user. Okay, so let us say ls-l. So you see this particular for this particular file monstpd, this is the file system. Okay, you need to read this: read, write, execute, read hyphen hyphen, read hyphen hyphen. Okay, that means read, write, execute, first three permission applies for the root users. Okay, and the next three permission applies for the normal users, and last three applies for the other users. Okay, so this is for root and this is for the user Suman, have it that way, and last three is for the local internal file system itself. Okay, if some of the file system has to use this particular file, then they can use this. Okay, so there are two ways to change the modification. One is, I think I have that slide. Okay, that is not here. Okay, so I think last time I added somewhere and explained it to Suman. So there are two ways you can modify the file. So R indicates, R denotes read, W denotes write, and X denotes execute. Okay, so there is a value for each permission. For read it is 4, for write it is 2, and for execute it is 1. Okay, so let us set that. Okay, ls -l. So let me just take this particular file, and for the root user, uh, root user has read, write, execute permission, and the other user doesn't have the two permissions, write and execute. Okay, they only have read. So in the numerical way, I'm going to assign more permission to this file. Okay, for whom? For the group. Okay, it's user, group, and other users. User, group, and others. Okay, chmod. Okay, I'm going to change the modification. So when I say 7, right, it's 4 plus 2 plus 1. When I say 7, So the root has all the privilege. So I'm going to modify the permission for the group. Okay, so I'm going to give full permission to the group. So I'm going to say 7 again. Okay, and for the other users also I'm going to give full permission, which is again 7. Okay, so 10. If I list it out, ls-l. So now do you see the permission got changed?
Yes, sir. Read, write, execute.
Yeah, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. So now I change my mind. For other users, I only need to provide them read and write, but not the execute. Okay. So now clear. chmod 7. So 4 is the number for read, 2 is the number
Read.
for write. So I'm
Right.
going to give 4 plus 2, 6, only 6. Okay, 10. Sorry. So now do you see? We removed the execute permission for the other users. Understood, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So similarly, this is the numerical way of doing it, and the symbolical way of doing it is also there. You just need to mention plus or minus to add or remove the permission, and permission what you are going to set, or w or execute. So you need to mention that user plus r. Okay, like that you can mention. This is the symbolic way of doing it. I'll add this in the slide itself. Somehow forgot it. Okay, sudo is done. Changing permission is done. So now okay, fine. What will we see?
Sir, can we stop till here, sir?
Why, man, what happened?
Like, I have some household work, sir, because this week we have fest now.
Oh, is it?